Oh, it's close to 7. Good evening. I'm going to call the May 9th, 2023 agenda meeting to order. Okay, I am here. Councilmember Brennan, Councilmember McPartland, Councilmember Moskowitz, Town Attorney Elena Finnan. We have Eric Amberger, Seth Goldstein, Elizabeth Greenwood, Janet Wynn, Chief Koshin, Diane Percy, Lori Peretti, Laura Robertson, Ray Smith, Matt Yetto. We also have some residents here. We have Leslie Gold, we have Brian Backus, we have Marcus Puccioni, and we have our reporter here from the Gazette, Ted Remsnyder. All right. So, before moving on, we wish to respectfully acknowledge that Niskayuna is on the traditional lands of the Kanikihaka and the Mahikanac peoples, past and present, and we honor with gratitude the land itself and the peoples who have stewarded this land throughout generations. All right, we will start with Public Works Committee.
Okay, so the first item is a resolution to approve a renewal contract for T-Mobile for placement of their antennas on a water tower. I know Elena's been working with them. They had a last minute request for some additional, oh no, I'm sorry.
That's another one.
Yeah.
That's an addendum or a
Yeah.
modification to one that we
Yeah.
previously approved for Dish Network. T-Mobile did get back to me today. They have some proposed changes. So I think that we'll be able to work through them. It's only a couple.
Okay,
So we should be able to work through them and have that on for this month's meeting.
all right, thank you. The second one is an outside user agreement for sewer for property on Pierce Road. We're working with the property owner. They've started the process for the permitting, and I don't see any issues with this. I think they have all the information into Elena, or if not, they will soon.
I don't have it, but I'll follow up to get it.
Okay. The third one is a fence easement agreement for 5 Bergen Place. That one is ready to go.
We're kind of resuming where we left off, I guess.
Okay.
I know that previously I had indicated that I was waiting on information from the homeowners. I'm not sure if your office has received it, but
If not,
so we'll have to follow up with them, but I did check and the resolution was never completed. So I'm assuming they never got us what it was that we were looking for.
okay,
So we'll have to come back and
we can reach back out to them.
Okay.
I didn't know if they were going to contact you.
I have
your
not
office,
heard
or
from
our
them.
office. Okay, we'll follow up. The fourth one is a resolution to appoint workers in the water and sewer maintenance crew. We've interviewed probably close to 10 applicants so far. I've got one more interview this week. I will have recommended names for the board. I have 2 open positions I'd like to fill. I have at least 2 people right now that I'm happy with, but I want to have one additional interview and choose from those 3. These are open positions and fully budgeted. The next one is a resolution to approve the first quarter of 2023 corporate utility warrant. Chris Lipchinsky is working on finalizing the numbers. When she's done, it should be any day now. Kathy in our office and myself will review that and make sure everything's okay. If there's any issues, I will let Elena know. The sixth one is a resolution to purchase pickup trucks. We're moving forward with purchasing trucks off the Onondaga bid, working out the details right now. These are at least 2 trucks that were bonded or partially bonded for and budgeted for. We've been holding off to buy them because the pricing was so off over the last year and a half. They would replace 2 trucks in our fleet that have well over 100,000 miles, and they're close to, if not more than 15 years old. Number 7 is a resolution. It says tentative, but I believe we do have at least one good candidate for plant trainees at the wastewater treatment plant. We have 2 openings right now. We had one of our plant operators move to another position within a local municipality. So we have an opening in an operator position, and then we had a pre-existing trainee or mechanic position at the plant that was left open. I'll continue interviewing for that second applicant, but right now I believe I have at least one good name. Number 8, I put it on there as a tentative for the purchase of a roll-off container for use at the wastewater treatment plant. I may hold off on making that purchase. I want to see some other expenses, see how they work out. And this is more of a long-term purchase that I like to make. And if I have the money available later in the year, I may opt to do it then. 9 is a resolution to award a contract to build a transformer pad at the water treatment plant. This is, again, work that was part of the larger upgrade at the plant. We broke it up into smaller contracts to have more availability for smaller contractors for better pricing. We're working with National Grid, and we're possibly going to be changing the proposed location of the transformer, which will make it the town side of the work cheaper. So I won't have a final number for a day or two on this contract, but it most likely won't even require board action. I just wanted to put it on there in case it did go up too high. 10 is the change order that would be related to the electric work for that transformer based on where the final location of that transformer ends up. I think that the potential change order will be far less than what we originally thought it was going to be. And 11 is just a resolution granting an easement to National Grid so that they could locate the new transformer in a different location on the plant property. And 12 is a resolution to surplus certain pieces of equipment in the water and sewer fleet. One is the old Grout camera truck that we have. We'll be replacing that this summer. And some of the older roll-off containers that were used at the transfer station and also for the wastewater treatment plant. And that's all I have. Any questions? Good. All right. Thank you.
Okay, number 13 is a resolution to hire a full-time grounds maintenance worker. This is to fill one vacancy that we had left in our full-time left. We had 2 positions. We filled one 2 months ago, and then this is the last one. I've been interviewing and hope to have a name for you for the end of the month. Number 14, resolution authorize surplus of certain town-owned items. So what we've been doing is we've been reaching out to the vendors for the purchases that we made this year out of our budget. And as these items are projected to come in, we're getting ahead of the game, getting these reso to be able to be sold at auction. As you know, my department, we sell the items when we can get the most money. So if it's a truck with a plow on it, we wait till fall before winter. It brings a little more money than it would right now. So, but these will be in line, and we watch the market constantly. So if it starts to go up because of lack of used trucks or whatever, we're able to put these on and move forward. Number 15, a resolution to permanently appoint a grounds worker and a working crew leader. These are just probationary, 1-year probationary for these 2 people, and we're happy with their performance and glad to keep them on board. Any questions? Thank you.
Okay, moving on to Community Programs Committee.
Okay, number 16 is a resolution to approve addendums to the town's standard license agreement. We're currently working with some clubs. We're hoping to have something in place by the end of the month. Not 100% sure. We're hoping for it. We haven't heard back a lot, so we're working on it. Number 17 is a resolution to hire seasonal employees and independent contractors. This is my big summer resolution with pool staff, summer staff, and all the independent contractors that run our programs for the summer. Number 18 is a resolution to accept a SIP grant. We are awarded $1,500 this year, again, to help fund our concerts out in the green. So special thanks to the county. And I also have something from the floor. We found out today that we received a donation from Benson's Pet Center for the senior center for $3,242 to put towards their meal program. And I want to give a shout out to the girls. They spearheaded this, and this was basically a roundup between two groups for the month of April. So that's pretty good. So they're quite excited. So this is just to accept that.
Lori, can you tell me again who was the donation from
Benson's Pet Center,
and how much?
$3,242.
Thank you.
Does anybody have any questions?
Yes.
Okay.
Standard license agreement. What programs are the addendums for?
Softball and baseball.
And what's left to do?
Football doesn't start until the fall, and I don't know where we stand with them, and lacrosse. So, but other than that, I think we're done. Do you mean with these ones or the clubs coming forward?
The former.
We are waiting to hear from these groups.
Okay.
There's a little back and forth.
Came to my
We've reached out
attention
to-
today that there might be some issues with needing porta potties. So I asked Elena if that is part of the standard license agreement or the memorandums, the addendums.
I think an addendum. Do you agree?
I didn't have a chance to look at the
Right.
standard license agreement after the question was posed to me, so I don't know if it's in there or not, but if not, then we would be requiring it as part of the addendum.
I think it is in the standard license agreement.
I know, it's been a while since I've had to look
Yeah.
at it, so I just want to double check that, but I know it's been something that's been discussed for a
Yeah,
while.
with just 2 bathrooms, and when you host a tournament of how many girls, it's overusing the bathrooms, and I think porta potties are necessary.
For all of the sports.
Absolutely.
I mean, as a travel
Mhm.
athlete, parent for tournaments, you would see a line of porta
Oh, absolutely.
potties. So I think it's important, and it's not only important to maintain our facilities, but for the environment and for the players and their families. So
Agreed.
I definitely think that should be looked into.
I agree.
And these clubs would be able to gauge that by, they know how many numbers they're going to have at these tournaments.
Oh, they know.
And they know how many they would need.
Absolutely. Like, for an example, in July, I think there's 3 weekend tournaments. All the fields are booked. So, I mean, you have 2 teams coming in per field, per game. That's a lot of families, a lot of people needing to use the restroom. So, and not to mention when someone is, well, even though we do block it out, but on the chance when there's maybe just practice or just regular games and we are hosting an event at the pavilion, this would stop traffic from people going in and out of people's parties, which happened this weekend. So it was unfortunate. Any other questions? Nope. Okay. Thank you.
All right, moving on to Economic Development, Historic Preservation, Environmental Conservation Committee.
So number 19 is a resolution to make a secret determination and or call for a public hearing for a special use permit for a 22 lot average density development at 1851 Union Street, 1245 Ruffner Road, consisting of 10 single family homes and 12 townhomes. The and or is in there because the Conservation Advisory Council recommended a positive declaration on the seeker. So if you guys were going to adopt their recommendation, that resolution would be a secret determination only. If you were going to make your own determination and end up being negative, then you could do a secret determination and call for a public hearing. The planning board did table their recommendation to you at the last planning board meeting, but they are expecting to be able to make a recommendation to you on their May 22nd. So it'll be in time for your meeting. Number 20 is a tentative resolution to make a secret determination and call for a public hearing regarding a special use permit application to combine 1725 and 33 Fagan Ave properties with the existing Kia Automotive dealership lot on 3900 State Street and extend the current automobile parking lot in place of 2 existing single-family homes. I think I have the longest agenda items twice. That one is tentative. We just need to reach out and see exactly where they are on that. Again, although it does not say and or the same situation would occur, the Conservation Advisory Council also made a positive recommendation on this proposal as well. So if you were to adopt their recommendation, that would be a secret determination only. Any questions on either of those long agenda item titles?
While you're on the topic, I think it might be useful to share a little bit about 19 and, provide the board members with some information about that meeting last night and
Sure.
the tabling of that.
The planning board had a recommendation prepared to the town board. They were not able to vote on it. The applicant requested that the application be tabled. And that's a very typical thing. If an applicant requests the tabling, the town will accommodate typically. So we're going to have an internal meeting with them to go over the results of the TDE review and the planning board recommendation. And the expectation is that the resolution would return as prepared to the planning board at the next meeting.
And so the vote to table, can you explain to the board members a little bit more about how the voting?
The vote to table was unanimous, and that's because, if an applicant does ask for a tabling, that is typically a request that the planning board and the zoning board and almost any board will do. It's their application. So if they're asking for a tabling, we'll typically allow that unless there's some kind of extenuating circumstance. In this case, it's the first time they've asked for us to table a resolution. So they did vote 7-0 on that.
And again, there'll be an internal meeting. Can you clarify the internal meeting is between what parties?
So the internal meeting is an engineering meeting that was requested by the applicant prior to this meeting. So like three weeks ago. And that's to go over the TDE letter, the town designated engineer letter, to review the engineering items on the subdivision and make sure that the engineers are on the same page with, what the issues are.
So to clarify, that the applicant had requested that TDE meeting and it never happened. So they asked to table the meeting so that meeting could happen.
That was the applicant's, yep, that's what they said at the meeting. That was why they justified requesting the tabling. Mm-hmm.
And to clarify, the applicant you're referring to is the Mohawk.
The Mohawk Golf
Club.
Club, yeah, for item number 19. Yep. And if for some reason that doesn't move forward, then obviously the town, that will just pull that agenda item. Right now, the timeline still looks okay, so we'll leave it on there as a tentative. Any more questions on that one? Number 21 is a resolution to appoint a chairperson for the Zoning Board of Appeals. We've got a lot of really good members on that committee, but I did recommend John Hoke. He's an attorney. He knows a lot of process. I think he'd be a really good leader. I know that, in discussions, the couple of the members agreed that John Hoke would be a very good chairman, and I believe that he did also say that would be okay with him. So, excited for that. And that goes right into the resolution number 22, a resolution recognizing Keith Ferrer's years of service to the town. The only reason I don't have a number is I'm just waiting for Michelle to come back, and I don't want to bother her on her vacation for this, but she'll be able to research for me, like how long he's actually volunteered for the town. And I believe it's some time. He's been on the zoning board for a while. I think he's been on our comprehensive plan committees a couple of times. He's really given a lot to the town. So I'd like to put all that information together and then do a resolution for recognition of his years of service.
Yes, that's great. Please do that. Having served on those boards with him, he's been quite an asset to the town. And his leaving the chairmanship is because he's moving out of the town.
He's moving to Guilderland.
So this is by choice. And,
We will definitely miss him though, because he's definitely been taking an active role in helping the town for a long time. So
Yep.
And he did a very nice job stepping up to lead the ZBA after the previous chairperson left, and Keith was willing to step up and take that leadership position. So we do thank him. And I believe there's a celebration that is in the works,
Yes.
possibly. All right.
I have to convince him that this is okay, but I will send out an email. I'd like to just do a little something right before his last zoning board meeting, which is this May, just like out at the gazebo, you know, with some cupcakes, and just anybody who's worked with him in the past can just come and say hello and thank you. Keith would typically get designated as the acting chair if anybody, you know, if the chairperson, because when I first started working for the town, the chairperson was Fred Goodman. And when Fred Goodman couldn't be there, Keith would be the acting chairperson. And I believe it was the very first zoning board meeting that I ever went to that Keith was the acting chairperson. And the zoning board and the courtroom meet at the same time. And this is the only time it's ever happened. I don't know if you were on the board then. I think you were, Bill. As somebody from the court was very confused and came into the zoning board meeting and acted extremely aggressively. And it was a very odd situation. And Keith totally calmed everyone down, diffused the situation, managed to walk the person who was not supposed to be in the zoning board room out the back of the boardroom where he could safely be taken care of by the police. So Keith is amazing. Yep. We'll miss him. Number 23 is a resolution to appoint a planner, one and a senior planner. This is something that we talked about during budget. The civil service titles in my department have been wrong for probably 15 years. Planner one is not a supervisory position, and I supervise two departments. And Clark is really taking on a lot of extra. And he's not, if you look at the civil service, he's not an assistant planner. He's really a planner. I mean, he prepares the bulk of the planning board packets. So this is just aligning the civil service titles with what we do and is in the budget.
And I would like to add that your department, you in particular, have you prepared a very persuasive presentation, not last year, but in fact the year before. And those changes were not made. And when I stepped in to this position, you also presented me with this information about the needs of your department, not just that the civil service titles are not aligned, but you all have seen a major increase in your workload through COVID and with major developments in town. And everyone in your department works incredibly hard to meet those needs. And so I think it's a well-deserved shift in your department. And it's an acknowledgement of your hard work and Clark's hard work, acknowledging the work you actually do, and also bringing more parity for pay, and especially being a female department head. It's very important. And so I want to acknowledge that. So thank you.
You know, I appreciate you saying that. I've had been saying it for a long time, and it felt good to finally be listening to. And I appreciate all the board during budget listening to that, and I appreciate the supervisor's support on that. I agree with those statements wholeheartedly. Number 24 is a resolution to appoint a person to the historic committee. We have a lady that is currently serving on our comprehensive plan committee, Rita, and I can send you guys her resume. Her background's actually historic, and she's been really good on the historic committee. She's put together her neighborhood narrative. She's already taken pictures. She's just an asset to the comprehensive plan committee, and she expressed interest in joining the historic committee again. And I think she was on it once before. So Dennis is also recommending her. She does a great job. So both Dennis and I are recommending her. She's awesome.
So Dennis you've communicated with Dennis and he is in full support. Excellent.
Dennis is actually the one that sent me her request. And yep, he remembers working with her. I think she would be great. The next three are tentative. I'm just give them a try. 25 is a tentative resolution to purchase a pavilion for River Road Park. I know it's a high priority. We're trying to be able to purchase it off of an existing purchasing list that's already vetted by the state or, a government organization. And if we can do that, we can probably have it in time. Otherwise, we'll have to put it out to bid, which is a little more complicated. So we're still trying to be able to purchase it off a pre-existing purchasing list.
Laura, do you have
Go
any
ahead.
idea what that would cost?
What we did to pick the pavilion out is that we went to, I think, 5 or 6 different installers and got quotes from them all. And this one was the best value for the look and the design that we wanted for Railroad Park. And I believe it was 57,000 maybe. Sorry, I didn't bring that number with
Oh,
me,
that's
but it was all wrapped up into our grant. It's just unfortunately when we went to purchase it, they're not listed on our purchasing site. So if we had to go out to bid, I mean, we know we'd get that quote. Potentially we'd get a couple more.
And you're hoping to have that for softball season? Or
Yeah,
This
as
summer.
soon as possible. I know we've basically started on a lot of that grant, and ordering the pavilion is something that, high priority.
It's all covered, it's within the SAM grant, $250,000 SAM grant. And
Nice.
Laura's been working very hard with Ray to coordinate that process so that we make sure to get the best pavilion for the amount that we budgeted for the grant, and that also meets the needs of our purchasing policy.
And we're also trying to roll in installation so that it's not overly burdensome to our highway department if we can.
Nice.
Yep.
Thanks.
Number 26 is a tentative resolution to award a contract for the Climate Smart Grant RFP. I'm putting that on there to give myself a deadline to give it a shot, but it depends on the workload. But what I want to do is we've got that RFP written. I just need to get it out to consultants and get some numbers back. That's our $50,000 grant from DEC to do a greenhouse gas inventory and climate action plan for our government. So we need a consultant to help us write those things. And then number 27 is a tentative resolution to adopt Complete Streets priority letters. We don't know if we need this as a resolution yet, so we put it on there as a tentative. What I'm going to do is finalize those letters and I'll send them out to the town board. And then it's up to you guys if you'd want to adopt them under a resolution or how you want to move forward with them. There are priority lists that we like to send to the state, county, and schools. We have one for the town too. And they just outline the things that the Complete Streets has, listed as their top priorities. They're not binding. They're just a good way to start a conversation with, outside organizations to us of what we see being a need in the town. So, any questions on any of those?
Any other questions? Okay. Moving on to Police and Public Safety Committee.
Good evening, everyone. Number 28 is a tentative resolution to hire 1 to 2 police officers. The reason we wrote it that way is we have 2 candidates that we're continuing to process, both town residents. And currently, as of May 15th and 16th, we will have completed that process and hopefully have those names to move forward with. Obviously, there's a lot that goes into that processing, so we're not going to give the names out at this point, and it is tentative at this point because we have to complete the process.
And were
No.
these positions budgeted for?
Yes, ma'am.
And these are new,
I'm sorry.
new
Jumping
recruits?
ahead, they're budgeted positions and they would be going to the academy as new recruits. Yes,
Thank you.
yes. Number 29 is a resolution to permanently appoint a police officer. Officer Derek Breslin came to us from the County Police Department. He is doing exceptionally well. I can't say enough good things about Derek's work ethic, his drive, his motivation. He's stepped right into the role and hit the ground running and has already been complimented by our community members and people that have surrounded him. So we're looking to make him permanent. He would be finishing his probationary period prior to the June meeting. So it's traditional that we do it prior to make them permanent. And I would give my full recommendation to do so. Does anyone have any questions? I apologize for jumping ahead. Yes, they're new recruits. They're young, they're healthy, and they're eager to come and do this. One of them is currently a town employee, so hopefully we complete the process with him and we move forward.
So I believe the department is budgeted for 30 officers.
That's correct.
And
Currently, we have 27 sworn members.
okay.
So we have 3 open positions. And anyone that watches me in the police and public safety meeting will hear me say it. I'll say it again tonight. If anyone knows that of anyone that wants to become a Niskuna police officer, I'd be more than willing to clear a day out to sit down and talk with them about what we have to offer and what our community has to offer. So
Are there any other questions? Thank you.
thank you so much.
All right, and finishing up with the Finance and General Government Committee.
All right, first one is the resolution to authorize the supervisor to sign documents for the town to join the Finger Lakes Medicare Health Insurance. I can't remember what the T stands for, Medicare Consortium. That was the one that would put us for our 65 and over retirees onto an Aetna plan that actually decreases costs for them, increases the portability, and it also decreases costs for the town. The second is a resolution to authorize the budgetary modifications. The third is the resolution to approve the updates noted in the employee handbook so that we will be up to date with the recent changes in both state and federal employment law. Following that, a resolution to permanently appoint an accountant. This is our current accountant, Frank. He has passed his exam. He has finished his probationary period. As I like to say, he is absolutely worth his weight in gold, and he will calculate that value for you if you ask him to. Next is a resolution to renew a natural gas purchasing contract with Mega. This is the first renewal we would be doing since the town had joined that consortium. Unfortunately, even with this, the price of our natural gas is significantly increasing. Next is a resolution to authorize an addendum to an agreement with Glen Eddy. Finally, the resolution to set the water and sewer rates, which we have gone over multiple times. And then the last one I just wrote in here was the resolution to accept the student interns that I had gotten in after you had put this together. And that is all I have.
Does anyone have any questions, comments, concerns? All right. That is all we have for our agenda meeting tonight. This time I'll make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All right, the ayes have it. Our meeting is adjourned. Thank you.